Okay, we're going to give this a go today. I got a new Stream Deck, which is sitting over here, which I'm hoping makes my life easier while I'm doing this. We'll see. And hopefully it makes my life a little bit easier in terms of switching views, like the right window view versus the front view, versus pulling up ForeFlight, which we'll do here in a second. First, let's try to get the stream up and running so I can see it. There we are. Good, that happened pretty fast. I tried to do this yesterday and had no joy. Ran out of time. Might run out of time today. This is the second leg of the alphabet challenge I made for Utah. We're in the TorqueSim SR-22, and hoping that everything's going to work fine. Sometimes they don't, because that's the way simulators roll. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Just looking at the screen, I can probably do a little color correction. Let's see if this pulls up. It does. Looks like it's not giving you the whole screen though. Let me see if I can fix that. There you go. That's a little better, isn't it? It's a little too big for my taste. Maybe something like that. Know your limits. That's the standard Cirrus startup screen. And we are full fuel. And hopefully this baby starts. Sometimes this airplane's a little difficult to start, just like the real thing. There we go. We got fuel flow, prime. And then usually it's just 1/8 of an inch. Wow, fired right up. Look at that. I also can now change the volume down on the desktop audio. It's too quiet, or if it's loud enough. So we got that going for us, which is nice. There we go. Our flight plan today I have on ForeFlight. So let's look at that. And there we go. Boy, Stream Deck. Who would have thunk it? It's like a whole new world. Okay, Utah U07 Bullfrog Basin down by Lake Powell. And then we're going to overfly the Henry Mountains. We'll probably shoot that gap. We're going to fly at about 10,500. Then, interesting that these just popped up. I don't know why that happened. Some Windows announcement, I'm sure. And then we're going to go to the Hanksville VOR. Then up to over the top of Huntington, kind of by Price. Staying on the east side of the Wasatch. Staying on the east side through Provo, over the top of Thistle, which is a fix, over the top of Heber Valley Airport, which is on the other side of Park City. Staying on the east side of the Wasatch, another fix along the way, and then up into Logan. Hopefully only an hour and a half en route, but we'll find out. Could have had some of this done before I started, but sort of made a last-minute decision to do this. This should be in my flights. I should be able to download it. There it is. Send that to the map. Looks like we've got some pop-up thunderstorms, but we will put the flight plan in. So I will switch over to that view. this ForeFlight. And flight plan 207. Then we're going to go HVE. And then 69V. Then Thistle. THISL, got that right? Yep. And then KHCR. And then Kuvac. JIPUS. That on the map, make sure that it all looks correct. I'm going to log on to PilotEdge here in a second, just so I can have flight following along the way, which means I want to turn off real traffic. So we'll do that real quick. Go. Then we'll get the weather and we'll get out of here.
Connected to PilotEdge.
Okay, good. A chance to look at the chat yet. Scott Kelly, good to see you, flights. I'm giving myself a credit. I've missed you a lot. Well, I've missed being in here. It's fun to be back in here again, I have to say. I said to my wife, I said, I hope I'm ready for dinner because I'm about to go do a flight, knowing that this will probably take longer than I think. But so it goes. Weather here at Bullfrog. It does not have weather. It is probably Cal Black you want to check for weather. That's 134.375, which I still have COM 2 from the last flight. Let me know if that's too loud now that I can control the audio from my Stream Deck. So exciting. Sounds like it might be a little loud. Maybe not. You guys are hearing that, right? Let's see if it goes again. I don't think you are. Yeah, I don't think you're hearing that. I know what to do about that. I know how to fix that. I think. We'll see if this does it. You know, you didn't get a new piece of gear.
Automated weather observation, Bullfrog Basin. Wind 250 degrees, 6 knots. Visibility more than 10 miles. Rain, no significant cloud. Temperature 29, dew point 10. Altimeter 3016. Automated weather observation, Bullfrog Basin. Wind 250 degrees, 6 knots. Visibility more than 10 miles. Rain, no significant cloud. Temperature 29, dew point 10. Altimeter 3015.
Okay. Well, with
Automated weather
PilotEdge,
observation, Bullfrog Basin. Wind 250 degrees,
you
6
can
knots. Visibility more than
debug the
10
radio and
miles.
see what the volume is
Rain,
set at.
no significant cloud. Temperature 29er, dew point 10. Altimeter 3015.
Mine is set to 100%.
Automated weather observation, Bullfrog Basin.
All right.
Wind 250 degrees, 6 knots. Visibility more than
Well, I
10
can hear
miles.
close enough.
Rain, no significant cloud.
If you guys can hear
Temperature
it.
29er, dew point 10. Altimeter 3014. Automated weather observation, Bullfrog Basin. Wind 240 degrees, 6 knots. Visibility more than 10 miles.
Okay.
Rain,
It's always
no significant
perfect.
cloud. Temperature 29er, dew point 10. Altimeter 3014.
Engine sounds are better now, Scott. Can you hear the ATIS is my question. Let me know if you can hear the ATIS.
Automated weather
I guess I'll
observation,
just do
Bullfrog
this.
Basin. Wind 240 degrees, 6 knots. Visibility more than 10 miles. Rain, no significant cloud. Temperature 29er, dew point 10. Altimeter 3014.
Yeah, that sounds okay. I'm trying to monitor it through the stream deck, so
Automated weather
or through
observation,
OBS,
Bullfrog
so it
Basin.
doesn't always work the way I
Wind
think it should.
240 degrees, 6
Okay,
knots.
so we're on PilotEdge.
Visibility
We should
more
go
than
over to the
10
CTAF
miles.
here,
Rain,
which
no significant cloud. Temperature 29er,
to 2.8,
dew point
which
10.
we're still on.
Altimeter 3015.
015.
Automated weather observation, Bullfrog Basin. Wind 240 degrees, 6 knots. Visibility more than 10 miles. Rain, no significant cloud. Temperature 29er.
Rain with no
dew point
significant
10.
clouds.
Altimeter
Go figure that out.
3015.
Okay, we will switch over to
Automated weather observation, Bullfrog Basin.
we'll switch over to guard 122.8. That's what we're on, and we'll say that we are departing on 19er. Get that bugged. It already is. Bullfrog traffic, Cirrus 15 Juliet Golf, taxiing to 19er Bullfrog. Okay. Where are we going? This way. People with lewds should not drive. That's funny, it just popped up the... Didn't want that to happen. We're gonna have to back taxi all the way down. Bullfrog traffic, Cirrus 15 Juliet Golf entering 19er for back taxi. Bullfrog. This TorqueSim Cirrus flies like the real thing. Also sort of taxis, not like the real thing. But it costs me a bunch of frames. I'd normally be running like 80 frames, 70 frames, and I'm running 40. Which is unusual for me with the rig as we have it set up now. And like the real thing, you have to steer it entirely with toe brakes because it's on a free castering wheel. But my toe brakes, I need to depress the response curves a little bit because it's a little too sensitive. Once you get it to speed, the rudder helps, but not much. And once you're moving on the runway, it's all rudder, but taxiing, it's always a little delicate. I designed this airport in WED and X-Plane. I didn't know back then when you made an airport boundary and made a fence. You can turn that off now. So we've got this fence running right down the middle of the side of the runway. It makes it feel like you're in a cattle chute. Controls. We would test our autopilot, we would make sure it deflects, we would make sure we can cancel it, we would do all those things. Then if we want, we can go to our checklist. Doors are set, caps is in, seatbelts are on, air conditioner is off, we'll have the fan running, fuel quality, we've got full gas, fuel selectors on the left tank, fuel pump is on. Make sure full rich, flaps 50%, and they are down. Transponder, we are going to go VFR altitude. Autopilot test, navigation radio set for takeoff. We're on that. Between point brakes, we were hold. Power level, we've done that. Pitot heat, we don't need. We turn on all the power during the run up. Make sure that everything holds. Alternator looks good. Voltage is good. Pitot heat, we'll take that off. Landing light we'll keep on. We'll check the mags. A little out of practice. Engine parameters all look good. Flight controls are free and correct. Trim is set for takeoff. Doors are latched, caps handle. We've got pin in, ready to go. Air conditioner through that. Check the autopilot, raise power level. We've got our documents. We've got a checklist in front of us. Oh, I gotta go to the takeoff checkoff. Okay, here we go, we're ready. Bullfrog traffic, Sirius 15 Juliet Golf departing 19er will be departing on the left, downwind to the north, Bullfrog. Airspeed's alive, engine instruments are in the green, we're on the center line, 50% by 50%. EX. 7% climb rate, positive rate climb. Flaps coming up. Bullfrog traffic, Sirius 15 Juliet Golf turning right crosswind. We're going to be making final call, departure to the north, Bullfrog. Looks pretty good. 6,500 is what we're going to fly up to today. This airplane has oxygen. You can actually simulate the consumption of it if you wish. It's looking pretty good. Now, if we are interested in Denver Center right now, but in a minute we'll get into Salt Lake, and then we'll go over to Salt Lake Center on 127.55 about the time we cross through the Henry Mountains up there. Set ourselves up for autopilot here real quick. And we can go ahead and capture. There you go. Okay, let's take a look at the chat. Yeah, Kevin, the Utah Alphabet Challenge is new. I ginned it up over the weekend. I saw the Idaho one, which I thought looked really cool, so I threw it into the Discord server for X-Plane, and the guy from my flight route is gonna check it and make sure that he doesn't have any changes to it, but he says he's probably gonna keep it, and I figured that'd be sort of cool. First leg was, what was that, a U-27, it was just the last flight to Bullfrog. It was Alton, Utah to Bullfrog, and now this is Bullfrog to Cache, Logan Cache, but I picked it as C Cache, so it gives us a long run from the south end of the state up to the north end of the state. Capture our path here. And we're going to deal with the weather as we find it along the way here. We've got intermittent clouds en route. We're going to fly around that side of the Henry Mountains while we're at it. We're not going to crash into that guy. That's Mount Ellsworth right there. Mount Reeler's right in front of us. In fact, that's Ellsworth over there now that I think about it. So yes, it's a new challenge, and I'm just making my way with it. Might as well listen to Utah Center while we can. 127.55, is that what it is? See if anybody's out there. This is X-Plane 12, and we are streaming with the MapEnhancement ortho streaming package using the Apple Maps, which I think look pretty good. We're going to go into heading mode here for a second. So we can make sure. Oh, that was loud. It was loud for me. I'm interested if you guys can hear that. Let me know. I presume you could. Might have to go into the, I might need to go into the PilotEdge settings and exit. I want my output device to be my speakers. Now that should work. Let's play a test just to be sure. Again, I had all this dialed in and then I...
Audio check. Audio check.
I can hear that, but it's quite quiet. But it seems to be working. So we'll see the next time you guys hear ATC if it's loud enough to hear it. Do I ever doze off when I fly? No. But yeah, it can make you drowsy. But you don't want to be drowsy. It's not something we're striving for. That's for sure. Lean ourselves a little bit here. Yeah, I don't want to be drowsy, that's for sure. So I heard that ATC really loud, and we'll see the next time they come on if it sticks with it. But between me trying to monitor what I hear, and I've got some stuff going to the speakers, and some stuff going to the headset, and you know, I don't know. I just don't know. But we'll call them in a minute. We'll see if they hear us. Slip past Mount Hillers. As best we can. As I snack on a power bar. In a minute here we'll call Salt Lake and get advisories. Pretty good. The Henry Mountains are a pretty amazing part of the country. Very remote. Nobody really goes up there. Ranchers, wilderness. Bison, one of the last herds of native bison in the United States. Buffalo, actually. Because I believe there's a difference, but maybe somebody can correct me on that.
Three Alpha Alpha is left 400.
Right,
3 Alpha Alpha, thank you.
So I can hear them. They're quiet, but I can hear them. I hope that you guys can hear them more loudly than I can in terms of the ATC. Here. Doesn't want to capture in the nav. It's interesting. There we go. Now it's taking it. on, baby. Well, you know what they say about autopilot. If you don't know what it's doing, stop it from doing it.
Core 3 Alpha Alpha, contact Oakland Center 132.2.
NETC 3 Alpha Alpha.
Let me know if you guys can hear those guys on the air traffic control.
Oakland Center, hello, November 323 Alpha Alpha, 33.2 descending via the Bodega 4.
Core 323 Alpha Alpha, Oakland Center, Roger, San Francisco, altimeter 29er.
99.
Go 3845, no traffic observed between you.
Nate, will you let me know if you can hear the ATC?
And report cancellation of IFR or Mr. Approach Airborne this frequency. Cancel on the ground within 5 minutes of landing on 122.2. Change advisory frequency is approved.
Okay, change frequency is approved, and we'll speak to you on the ground.
ATC volume good. Okay, good, thanks. It's really faint in my headset, so that's why I'm asking. I can turn this up, that'll help. Okay, now let's try to figure out why this isn't doing what I want it to do. Part of the problem is that okay, it says I've got that. It says I'm in nav. Okay. Now let's get our vertical speed to take us down to the right altitude. And let's hit nav. There we go. Now she seems to be working. Okay. Now we seem to be okay. What's the problem with automation, man? You know what they say, if it's confusing, down the level of automation one notch. If you're in nav mode, switch tanks. We're gonna switch tanks here. Fuel pump on. Still have fuel flow. Fuel pump off. If you're in nav mode, go to heading mode. If you're in heading mode, turn the autopilot off. Like, when things are confusing, reduce the automation level, don't increase it. What's up, Cardboard? Oh, Cardboard Sim. Like, we got a couple people in here. This is good. Okay, let's go over to center on 127.55. Let's see if the good people at PilotEdge will give us advisories to Logan. What is this? This is Denver Center. That still says it's Salt Lake City. Well, let's see here. What am I going to tell him? I'm going to tell him that I'm, where are we? We are, 16 miles south of Hanksville, VOR. Salt Lake Center, Sirius 15 Juliet Golf, VFR request. Sometimes it takes them a second to get back to you. Some questions. How did I my G1000 did I a slight angle, mean angle this way, like in the real world, Kiwi Flyer? I did not. They're just straight in. I suppose I could. Wouldn't be too hard to do. I just had trouble getting the sons of bitches to fit in this thing. Like, it was a tight fit. Let's try this again. Denver Center, Sirius 15 Juliet Golf VFR request. It's enough to make a guy check his settings. Because it doesn't read that as a comm frequency. Okay, well, so when you're talking to nobody, nobody answers. Let's see what they might have here as the frequency over the top of me. Let's look at Hanksville and see what they say is their center frequency. Clearance, ETAF, flight service. Maybe?
Solid Skywest 385. We're on the ground here, Great Falls. 10 platform. Have a great day.
That's 3845. Receive, thanks. We'll see ya.
Yeah.
Let's see, what was that? 3.6. I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way. 33.60. Now let's see what PilotEdge plugin says. We also, it wasn't tied to the correct mic. That was probably the problem. Again, you change one thing in one of these things, and all these other things change. Now let's go back to 127.55 and see if we can get anybody to answer us. Now how far away are we from the VOR? We're like right on top of it. Just say we're at it.
3 Alpha, Alpha, contact NorCal approach 135.1.
35 on November 3 Alpha Alpha.
Denver Center, Sirius 15 Juliet Golf, VFR request.
15 Juliet Golf, Denver Center, squawk 0161.
0161, 15 Juliet Golf. Helps if you use a working microphone. See if he gets back to me.
For 323 Alpha Alpha, NorCal approach. Thanks for Quebec. Expect ILS runway 28 right approach.
Thanks, Cardboard Sim. Kiwi Flyer, that's a good idea. Wouldn't be hard to do. Just have to put a shim behind here. Angle it out. It would look cool.
15 Juliet Golf, Denver Center. Can you verify your location is about 3 miles north of Hanksville VOR?
Affirm, we're right over the top of Hanksville. We're at 10,500 going to Logan, Kilo, Lima, Golf uniform.
Number 5 Julie Golf, roger, that's outside airspace. Try Salt Lake City Center 125.57 with your request.
12557 for 5 Julie Golf. Wrong frequency. Well, that happens. Salt Lake Center, Sears 15 Julie Golf.
15 Julie Golf, Salt Lake City Center.
We're just past the Hanksville VOR, 10,500 going to Logan, Kilo Lima Golf Uniform. We'd like advisories if we could have.
15 Juliet Golf, Salt Lake Center radar contact 5 miles north of Hanksville VOR, altimeter 3000, and verify you altitude.
10,500 with altimeter now. We're coming up to that. Okay, always good to have advisories. Now, I basically, since I don't fly anymore, I decided I'm going to do this like I used to do it. Speaking of which, we should probably be running the cruise checklist. Oxygen is required, fuel pump is off, cruise power is set. We're going to lean it a little bit. We'll do the lean assist thing in a minute here. I'll show you guys how that works. Parameters matter, fuel and load balance, okay, that's fine. So basically, there's, you want to run, current thinking is you want to run the engine just lean a peak. There's actually a fin for Cirrus as a fin diagram because it looks like a shark fin that you can use to know exactly how much you want to lean it. And based on your altitude and your performance and what you want to run at, you can know how many degrees. But, you know, 50, 75 degrees lean a peak is, from what I remember, pretty good out on the target. So what you do is you basically hit the assist button. I'll make it so you guys can see this stuff. You hit the assist button, and then you lean the engine until you have a peak EGT. You can see him coming up there in the middle. You sacrifice a little performance doing this, but it is best for your engine. You can see we're still coming up. I was running rich at peak. And you're just gentle with it until you get a peak temperature, and then they start to come down, and you can see then we're 10 below. This is the center set of 6. And I'll come down to like
Alpha Alpha, contact NorCal, approach 134.5.
Lean a peak. Take. And if you make a real significant change to altitude or a big change in pressure, you
323 Alpha Alpha, NorCal approach,
lean it in.
7,000.
And there we go. And the performance is really consistent, so you pretty much learn, well, when I'm flying in these conditions at 10,500, like 51% power, it gives me basically the lean peak number that I want. But every airplane's a little different, and every flight is a little different. That's close enough. And that's the assist function. This will show traffic in PilotEdge, but there's not a lot of traffic in PilotEdge out in the boonies of Utah, so it is what it is. You don't have a whole lot, but it's cool when you get traffic in PilotEdge. We've got an 11 knot tailwind, which is moving us along. We're doing pretty good clip over the ground. Ground speed 174 knots. That'll get us there. 1 hour to arrival, which is good. I really like this Stream Deck. This is fun. It's cool that I can just bring stuff up. I can make that go away. I can make you look out the right window. The Badlands outside of Hanksville. Copper Reef National Park was off to our left. We can see the general contours of the water pocket fold coming through here, which is a cool part of Utah that most people never see. looking at the edge of it off the tip of the wing there. This is a pretty remote and quiet part of the world. We get up here, we get to over the top of Strawberry Reservoir, and then over Heber. Probably dodge a mountain or two there. We'll fly right over the top of Park City, and then we'll go up just on the east side of the Wasatch Front, so that we stay out of the Bravo of Salt Lake City. And there's weather in Salt Lake City, at least on ForeFlight, so it'll be interesting to see if any of that moves in. We didn't plan to file IFR on this flight. Father-son simulator, hello. Good to see you. I'll be late for dinner tonight, I can tell you that. This is one of the longest flights in the Alphabet Challenge that I put together. I'm not able to easily put stuff into the chat, but maybe I can do that.
Number 3 Alpha Alpha, turn left heading 100, descend and maintain 6,000.
Let me see if I can make a way to do that. Maybe I can do it here. Switch count. Fly slope. Got my own channel. See myself streaming. Yeah, so I'll get that from the Discord channel, and I'll pop it into the chat. It's in the PilotEdge Discord in the Alphabet Challenge section. And my plan is to sort of make I'll copy the text from the whole thing. My plan is to sort of make see if it'll take the whole thing. Huh? No, too many. Characters. Let me see if I can shorten it up. I'll paste in a link if anybody's from if anybody has no, I'm lost in text editing. If you've got access to the PilotEdge Discord, you'll be able to grab it, no problem. Copy message link. There we go. So this is the second flight.
Alpha, descend and maintain 4,000.
All right. And it should be fun, and it should give me a reason to design a fair amount of scenery as we go. See those cliffs in the distance. That's the San Rafael Reef, is that sweep that's going around that you can see off the tip of the
Number 3 Alpha Alpha, turn left heading 310.
Okay, so we've got a pretty good increase of terrain coming up here. That's the start.
Number 3 Alpha Alpha, 9 miles from
edge of the swell that sort of combines the Wasatch Mountains with
the ILS runway 28 right approach.
Kind of combines the Uinta Mountains and the Wasatch. This is sort of the Wasatch Plateau, this high terrain that's coming up. It's going to be up to about 8,000 feet on the way we're flying. Eventually it'll come up to about 9,000. Highest point will be about 9.7. We're at 10.5, so it'll get a little skinny there, but I actually picked this route in ForeFlight intentionally so that it would give me a chance to miss some of the terrain, so I'll show you real quick. Like here, I'll probably just dodge a little bit to the right, go over Daniels Pass there. There's a road there that we can take if we were to lose the motor. And I've tried to sort of stick to places where I have a place to land throughout. You can see this road comes up through Heber City, comes across, and then it comes up. There's this road that sort of goes all the way up the backside of the Wasatch. But we're attentive to where we could put the aircraft if we lost the engine. And that's one part where it gets a little skinny. So right in here we might come just a little bit off our normal route, but the rest of the way we're in pretty good shape. Like I can pull ForeFlight up with that. That's cool. Okay. Alright, so we're making pretty good progress here. Again, it's 170 knots over the ground. Performance looks good. Engine's looking good. Pretty soon they'll have the weather radar integrated in. That's in the next release.
Contact tower 120.5.
Next line 12. That'll be nice. Because we'll have the next route working, and then they're also going to get the artificial terrain working again, the simulated horizon.
November 323 Alpha Alpha San Francisco.
Those are not working just because of their migration.
15.
But they'll be working soon enough. That'll be good.
15 Juliet Golf, the price altimeter 3011.
011, thanks. 301. A little high. That'll bring us down 100 feet. Price is going to be up here. They call this part of Utah Carbon County for a reason. A lot of coal mining around here. We're actually going to go over Huntington Municipal. Well, you can see Price coming up on the GPS. I guess if I'm going to show that to you, I might as well make it bigger and easier for you to see, huh? That would make sense. I'm not going to show it all the time. Might as well make it so it's easier to see. Yeah, so Price is coming up here. It's just off the swing. We're going to go past the Huntington Airport, and then we'll make a slight adjustment to the west. See the Price VOR on there as well. You can see the Ueno Mountains just lit up there, where we have a terrain issue. And given that the SR-22 has oxygen, we can go up higher. We can go to 12.5 if we wanted. I just didn't really see the point. Anyway, so it's weird getting back into this. Hello, Maverick Mike. It's weird to get back into this after, I don't know, 4 years since I streamed. I look back, it's been 10 years since I built this simulator. This is about the 4th iteration of the panel. And it was interesting going back and looking at all the changes that have been made along the way. And the evolution of the sim, I go back and look at some of the X-Plane 11 stuff, and the PilotEdge stuff, and the flight simulator, whatever it was, 1986. And it's really astonishing, the quality of what we work with now. Things like this and how they can look. Like, it's surprising to me. And you know, never-endingly interesting and sort of fun. Looks like my horizons are matching up okay. I might need to make the camera just a little lower. That looks pretty good. I spent a ridiculous amount of time trying to get the camera angles right.
Alpha, right turn at Delta, then Charlie to the ramp, monitor ground point.
What did I learn?
Have a great day.
I learned that trigonometry matters. Trigonometry is a thing. And ultimately where I settled on it is, I decided that the way the trig is supposed to work is your eye point to each of the monitors, and based on the size of the monitors, sets the field of view so that things look the same size on screen as they do in the real world. So I mentioned this on an earlier stream, but rather than try to figure that out myself, I went into ChatGPT and I basically said, here's the size of this monitor, and here's the size of these monitors, and here's where the eye point is, and here's the distances between them. And it gave me a vertical and horizontal field of view for all 3 screens. So when I set that, then everything proportionally was the size that it should be to match up in terms of their relative sizes according to the eye point. And then the next thing I had learned, and I'm astonished after all the years I didn't know this, so this monitor is actually not centered on the cabin. It's upright. There's a lot more screen up here than there is down here. And that's so that I can look up and see myself turning and things like that. So the horizon was way up here, and to adjust that, I was tilting the viewpoint in X-Plane to bring the horizon down. And then I would have to adjust these views this way so that the horizons would line up. And what I finally realized a week or two ago after doing some research is that there's actually an offset feature in. Those of you with flat screen monitors probably figured this out a long time ago. But basically it just offsets the entire image up or down without tilting. And you can offset them this way, and you can offset them this way longitudinally. So, yes, longitudinally. And so I finally got the offsets, and what I did is I measured the eye point, which was 49 inches above the ground, and I put a post-it note here, exactly 49 inches, and then I put a post-it note on each of the side monitors at 49 inches, and then I set myself up on a level airfield on a runway, and I adjusted the offset until the horizon was right there, right where I wanted it. And then I simply rotated the view so that the horizon could come over here, and the horizon could come over here, and then I can see then that the horizons matched up on all 3 really very closely. The box isn't exactly proportional, and it's, you know, so one's just off a little bit more than the other. I just sort of aligned. But that then has made it so that only with really extreme turns, when I turn, the horizons really stick together very nicely, as you can see. And since the field of views are consistent, when something goes by, and then I set the offsets this way, so the math was generally correct for the distance from the edge of the field of view to where the screen starts. And so that now, when something goes moving past this screen, it appears on this screen in the right size, at the right place, at the right time, not too soon or not too late. Why it took me 6 years to figure that out. That there was a better way to do it than I was doing it, I just don't know. But the bottom line is that the way we're doing things now, and it seems to be working really well. This screen's a little too bright on the GoPro. It's a little too rich blue. The color's a little more saturated than it looks in the cockpit. And this is a little more saturated than these, I think. So I've got to do a little bit more color matching work. But on the whole, I think it's looking good. And it's really coming along. Reverb G2 not supported in Windows 11. Oh no! Mike, no, I don't fly anymore. I haven't flown in a couple years. Not for any reason other than I was about halfway to my commercial and was flying an SR-22 and was spending a lot of money to sort of burn holes in the sky. it was either time to buy an airplane or not. And buying an airplane really just didn't make any sense. My family doesn't really want to fly. They're sort of nervous about it. I've got a daughter who's probably too little to handle herself. If I had an aneurysm, she's not strong enough to pull the chute handle. It just wasn't reason for the family to have an airplane. So, unless I can fly 100 to 200 hours a year, especially as an instrument-rated pilot, I just decided not to do it. That I could keep sort of flying casually, but my view is it's not something that you should do casually. You need to be serious about it and take it very seriously and be proficient. You know, you can be current and not at all be proficient. And I wanted to be proficient, not just current. So I thought about it for a lot, and then I just decided, I mean, I can always go back. You know, the license lasts forever unless you have a legal reason to lose it. So I learned how to sail boats instead. Started sailing, and really liked it. And we bought a little boat, and it's fun. Like, you can work on a boat, which is not something you can do on an airplane. And you know, it's always worth tinkering, and the problems on an airplane are not nearly as expensive, or on a boat are not nearly as expensive as the problems on an airplane. Nice, you got the side window there. And that was great, but I started to just get the itch. You know, the PC was really old. I was on my second PC. It was maybe 4 or 5 years old, and I just was not driving the X-Plane 12 really well, and I definitely wasn't driving these three screens well, and that's a 4K screen. So I started looking at getting a new PC, and when I got a new PC, the performance was so much better, and I was able to have, you know, scenery and performance that looked amazing. It kind of changed the game, and then when I realized I could have the old PC drive this monitor, so this is actually a 2-computer setup right now, and the new PC drives these two. So with TorqueSim, and really my settings almost at fully maxed out, I'm getting 42 frames a second on these two. If I don't have TorqueSim on, I'd be getting 60 or 70 right now. And out here we're getting 85, and when I'm flying just like the default Laminar aircraft, I'm getting 110 here. And I can really fly orbic scenery. I can fly just about any place and have, you know, performance that's really great. So it changed it, and I got more into it over the past couple of weeks, and then I thought, well, maybe I'll post a stream. So I posted a little stream, and then I was like, well, maybe we should try doing the old school stuff. And so the old GoPro didn't work, and Windows 11 hated this and hated that. I built the panel. I rebuilt the panel because the panel, I wanted to have a G5 here, and then also it's kind of cool. These actually work. They don't put out a lot of air, but these put out air. So I installed those. This switch here is from an SR-22. I found it on eBay for 30 bucks. That's the actual air conditioning switch from an SR-22. Nothing works except the main dial here runs a potentiometer that controls two fans here that put out a little air. So the thing looked cool, and I thought, well, I'd try streaming again, and then I had to relearn all of that stuff, which I'd forgotten. And then the Stream Deck, which is just great. This thing is great, and I no longer have to try to set hotkeys to switch views and do all this stuff. It's fun again. So anyway, that's sort of stereo we got here. Yeah, I got all the Gremlins sorted, at least for now. I don't know if you guys watched, yeah, I saw Father Sin. I saw that your son got his private pilot's license. That's fantastic. That's really great. Are you guys still up in the Panhandle? I think that's where you were. 3 GoPros, 5 virtual webcam. Wow, that's interesting. I don't know that there's enough of that, enough to see in here of me that's that interesting. But you never know. I'm just happy to be able to go, look, the right window. Look, the front window. You know, look, we can pull up ForeFlight. Like that alone for me is fun. Where are we, by the way? I'll show you where we are. We are right about here. We're just past Carbon County on the other side. Down there. Boy, I gotta tell you, I've been flying that Cessna in the sim for a while, and moving along at 160 knots ground speed is a game changer. Charlotte area. So does he take you up? Do you guys go flying? And have you had some fun adventures? I imagine that's some cool places to fly up there. St. Pete is still cool, Mike. We went to the Urban Stillhouse just last weekend. I hadn't been there before. That place is cool. I've met one of those guys, one of the 12 strong Green Berets who went in Afghanistan and built that place. And he's very cool. But I haven't been to his shop. And it's a really cool, if you're in St. Pete, that is a place that's worth visiting, getting a meal, getting a glass of bourbon. Huh, the Sullenberger Museum, I'd like to see that. I'd like to go up and see that. Jacksonville, North Carolina, that's very cool. Yeah, it's been, there's Schofield Reservoir coming up on this side. Making ourselves just through the outer foothills of the Wasatch over here, the southern edge of the Wasatch. We've got a little turbulence flying over these hills, that's realistic. Let's see how we're doing on fuel, we're doing fine. Fuel flow's good. Let's check our engine. Still 80 degrees lean to peak, that's good. We don't need to worry about anti-ice right now. The TorqueSim GPS, or you know, it is GPS, but the Garmin system is different than in the default. This engine screen in particular, and the startup screens are like they are in the real Cirrus, which is cool. The Perspective Plus system, which is really what this FMS is, does a whole bunch of other stuff, which I hope one day this will do. But in the meantime, it's actually really pretty cool and pretty realistic. That's traffic. That's weather. That's the overall weather link. That's TOS-B. So which is cool. How we doing? Doing okay. Got a nice view out the side here. I've got RealSimGear running over the top of this, and its overlays are great. Trees are right where they should be, roads are right where they should be. It's nice. Alright. Tucker, Soldier Summit. I haven't been to a lot of these places in a long time, but when you're driving from Provo down to Price, that's the way you come. Go through Spanish Fork Canyon. And Price River has some good fishing in it. We are past halfway. And doing fine. 2 hours drive. Going on our occasions for work. Huh. Lied through my teeth to my spouse about being ready for dinner on time. But I warn her. She knows what happens when we go in the hangar. I have a buddy. This whole thing is in a closet. It's a big closet, but it's a closet. I ripped all it. We weren't, like, it was an empty closet. I ripped the cabinetry out, sold it, and then put the box in here. That used to be in the basement back home in Philly when we lived there. And that's really nice how those the trees are on the correct side of the mountain there. That's what SimHaven gets you. So anyway, it's in this closet. I've got about 1.5 feet on each side. And I've got very little room in front, like 3 or 4 inches, 2 inches, 3 inches from the end of the glare shield. A buddy of mine gave me a placard that says the hangar, which I have over the top of the sliding door that gets into this place. Alright, we're now officially out of central Utah. You can see coming up on the GPS Provo in the upper right hand corner. Well, that's Spanish Fort, but Provo light. And then the Salt Lake Bravo's coming up. We're already squawking mode C and we're docking to center, so we don't really need to worry about that. Well, I haven't heard of him for a while. Hope we didn't lose him. I wasn't given a call. I didn't hear one. I might check in and make sure he's still there. Center 15 Julie Golf.
5 Julie Golf.
Just checking. It was quiet.
5 Julie Golf, yep. It is quiet. The Salt Lake altimeter, if you don't have it already, 2987.
87, thanks. That's going to give us some altitude here. So much lower pressure in Salt Lake. There's weather over Salt Lake Valley in the real world. This should have real world weather. It's not in our route, depending on how fast it's moving. It seems to be kind of dying as it hits the mountains. Usually that can happen in the Wasatch. It's hot over the valley, then it dumps and then hits the colder mountains and sort of stops. We're about 20 minutes from that, so we'll see. If we can't get ahead, we'll stop in Beaver Valley. That'll be our bailout plan. Alright, we're right over the highway here. Leads on to Price. Really cool topography there. And I know it's simulated, but it still looks cool, especially with the clouds. Like, I love the new weather in X-Plane. It's just great. And the light, especially when the light's coming through clouds and the sunrise and sunset and stuff, they've really modeled it really well. Again, it's a little too rich, a little too saturated on the GoPro, but I think that's a GoPro setting that I can fix. Pretty soon we'll see Strawberry Reservoir. Once we come over these hills, well, you can actually see it. It's right over here. That's a big fishing and recreational area in Utah. And then just on the other side of the mountains this way will be Provo, so right over the top of those mountains. You get Provo, and then you get Big and Little Cottonwood Canyon, Brighton Alta Ski Resort, Saltude, Snowbird, and then you're over Park City, Deer Valley. It's the first time I've done this in the sim, flown from north to south to north in Utah. Even being from Utah, it's a sort of a new wrinkle. Strawberry River goes into Strawberry Reservoir. Strawberry River has excellent fishing, by the way. If you're a trout fisherman, that's a place that that's a place you like. Let's check the chat. Yeah, Frank, the TorqueSim stuff can be a frame weight killer. What's amazing is it hurts this one a little bit, but it craters this. Like, this goes from 80 frames to like 20, which makes no sense to me. Like, whatever it is about that the TorqueSim simulates. So I actually deactivate the plugin, obviously, because I don't need it for this. This is just a visual slave. But it's really interesting. Whatever it is in their program that really makes it work that way. But I just love the way they sound and they fly. And my impression was it flew from the numbers like very accurately to what I would want. Okay, up here is where we're gonna go around this. We're gonna go around this little knob here. We're gonna head this way. So I'm gonna go into heading mode, and I'm gonna take us that way, just so that if we lose the motor, we've got our road we can get to, and that we don't have quite that skinny a terrain clearance. we'll come back. It looks like we have a weird tile issue with the water on Strawberry Reservoir. That's from the streaming ortho. Not quite sure why it's doing that. I also find that the shadows in the new X-Plane are really great. The way it shows the cloud shadows. You can see some good cloud shadows at this window. It does a nice job of that. This little diversion is not going to cost us more than a minute. Yeah, I'm going to have 2 in school here pretty soon. I'm going to have 1 in school here in about 18 months in college. And then another one not too far after that. Sort of a funky weather update there. But I haven't noticed big transitions. It seems like I'll see the shadows change, but I haven't noticed this stuff changing. It'd be interesting to watch in high speed to see if that stuff is moving along or not in the replay. Strawberry Reservoir. Again, it's got trees right where trees should be. That's really great. The guys at Simhaven, and the fact that they do all that for free is just mind-blowing. What a contribution to the hobby. That road, like that road is great. You know, the default road would be all blocky. That thing's great. It's a nice curve. I'd admitted to my wife today. I was like, I don't know. I mean, this is fun and all, but it seems awfully low utility to do this. Like, I don't feel like I'm contributing anything to society or being productive doing this. And she said, you know, you like it. You know, it's fun. Yeah, it makes you happy. You know, it scratches the aviation itch for you. And I guess that gave me a little solace, but sometimes it's weird to think that you're a complete adult sitting in his closet talking to strangers on the internet, sitting in your imaginary airplane. Like when you put it that way. Looks good on you though. That's some hat. Did you get a bowl of soup? Hello, Rico Schwartz. So thank you for saying that you missed the content. Greetings from Germany. V. Gates. Yeah, a lot of people have said it's been good to see me back, and it's been nice to hear. It was a little surprising, actually. Some people wondered if I was okay. COVID got me or something like that. No, I just decided I was going to focus on. You know, I was using it so much, the sim so much as a training device for flying in the real world, that absent that, I wasn't quite sure how I was going to use it, and I just sort of stopped using it. I'd get in. I mean, every once in a while I would get in, but I stopped streaming and all that stuff. And I still don't know how much I'll be streaming, although I seem to be streaming a lot. Like I seem to be streaming quite a bit, but I've got a really busy life and a lot of stuff going on, and like anybody else, there are other things that are more important, especially when you got kids. Ooh, we'll see what happens with that weather. I can see through the Wasatch out to the left. I can see the top of the range there. Looks like X-Plane hasn't given me that weather yet, but it may get an update here. We'll see. We'll shoot through this little pass, Daniel Pass, and Route 40, and then we'll be on our way to Heber. And I know this road reasonably well. I'll go take this road when I'm in Utah this time. Sometimes I take this road to go fishing. And then we'll get back on when we get to Heber, we'll get back on our nav route. Stop flying heading mode. Tailwind 7, crosswind 12 here. So let's give us another couple little ticks this way. Account for that crosswind. I'm surprised that you're surprised about that you haven't seen my camera. Well, I got to tell you, I am a little surprised. I'm not trying to be falsely humble, I don't think, but yeah, it's fun to do. It's fun to look back at where I started. You know, I didn't know anything about it. I mean, I've been a fan. mean, I've loved airplanes my whole life, but I didn't have a license. Or, I mean, in a way, building the simulator made huge changes in my life. Like, I got my private, I got my instrument rating. You know, I met all kinds of people. I've got a couple of really good friends now that are friends that I met just purely through aviation. And I had some great experiences. Like, I had some great flights. I had some scary flights too. I was on my, I might have told this story a long time ago, but I was on my private pilot.
Just take off, contact Salt Lake Center 133.25.
That wasn't us. I was on my private cross country. So you fly solo to 3 points separated by 70 miles or 100 miles, something like that. And at least 3 takeoffs and landings from 3 different airports at a certain distance apart. And it's meant to make sure that you can do solo navigation. And I went down to Fort Myers, and then I was going from Fort Myers to this little airport south of Tampa. What's it called? Barely even counts. I went down to Fort Myers. And then I went to Arcadia. Fort Myers. I went to Sarasota. That's where I went to. I went to Sarasota, up to Arcadia, and back. And for reasons that...
November 15 Juliet Golf, contact Salt Lake Center 133.25.
13325, 15 Juliet Golf. Salt Lake Center, Series 15 Juliet Golf, 10,500.
November 15 Juliet Golf, Salt Lake Center, roger.
So, about halfway from Fort Myers to Arcadia, or Sarasota, Arcadia, I lost all the electrics, all the electrical. Like the GPS blinks off, and I was like, tap, tap, and it came back on, and then it goes off again, and I can hear the radio getting weaker. I was talking to Miami Center at the time, and I had a full electrical failure. So luckily, I had the iPad, and I had a Sentry device, so I had traffic, which is good because Punta Gorda's right there, and it's got traffic coming in and out of it. It's got, commercial airline traffic. View out the window there. It's starting to look over the foothills of the Uinta Mountains. And, picked out my handheld radio, which, is worth about as much as a doorstop, and made a couple calls, and nice view. You can't see it, but you've got Mount Timpanogos right over here, which is a really cool mountain in Utah. And entered the pattern, put my head on a swivel and landed the thing. It wasn't scary, but it was like, wow, that was real. I porpoised an airplane once. I didn't porpoise it a lot, but I bounced twice and went around before I did something really bad, had a prop strike. That was during COVID when we weren't flying very much, and I was just rusty. That scared the crap out of me. I was like, oh, wake-up call. But for the most part, just had great flights. One flight, which was really cool, is I had a buddy who lives across the street who'd go flying with me sometime. Head with me to, we went up to, you can kind of see, Tip is just off, we just missed it. But these are the Wasatch here, back into the Wasatch. And then Deer Valley Ski Resort's right up here. This is Jordanelle Reservoir coming up. This is Deer Creek Reservoir back here. This is Heber Valley. There's a cool airport right down here too. You can just see it coming into view right here. So I said, what are you doing? He said, nothing. I said, well, I want to put some real stick time in. So I rented the plane for the day, and we flew up from Tampa. We did all this with flight following. Flew up from Tampa up to Daytona Beach. Did a touch and go at Daytona. In fact, I think I shot an instrument approach. Then I think I canceled IFR right after. But regardless, did a touch and go, which is cool because Daytona's right next to the racetrack. And if you've not been to the Daytona 500, you need to go experience that because it's cool. And then we made a right-hand turn and flew down the Atlantic coast of Florida. And I was talking to Orlando approach probably. And the space shuttle landing strip at Cape Canaveral is still there. It's still an active airfield. It's called Titusville. It has a tower. And of course, this is all controlled airspace, Cape Canaveral. And right at the end of it is restricted airspace. There's an Air Force base right there. But the Cape is not restricted if there's not something hot. So you can actually fly into it if you're talking to air traffic control. So anyway, we called and said, I said, can I do a low approach at Titusville? You're not allowed to touch down at Titusville, but you can do a low approach. And they said they're closing the tower because it's 5 o'clock or whatever it was. But they said, yeah, you can do that. So it was very cool. We flew right down the coast, and then this thing is 3 miles long. It's a 15,000-foot runway. Like, you can see it coming from a mile away. And we just gonna come over a little bit here so we fly a little closer to Park City. We flew down the pipe of this thing, and then at about 50 feet AGL just cruised along at, approach speed, 90 knots, something like that. And I gotta tell you, 90 knots, a 15,000-foot runway goes on forever. And it was really cool. They have a space shuttle sitting there just off the field by the tower, and you can see the vehicle assembly building, and like you can see pad 39A, and there's rockets on the pad and stuff. And then you make a hard right-hand turn so you don't fly into the Air Force Base. And then you pick up Orlando approach, and you transit to Bravo, and you come back to Tampa. And coming back to Tampa, you hope that they give you the Bravo transition right over the top of KTPA, which is a VFR flyway. You fly 2,500 to 3,500 feet, depending on your direction, right over the top of Tampa International. It's really cool. Air traffic is coming and going this way, and you're going this way. But they took us south over the bay, went south of MacDill Air Force Base, and then came into Whitted. Like that was an amazing experience. And if I don't build a flight simulator, I never do that. So that's why, Father Son, I think it's cool that your kid got his PPL. This started with you guys doing this stuff. That was cool. And you guys had, I'm sure, cool experiences building it together. I had some cool experiences with my son, flying around in it. He thought it was great. That's Park City right down there, by the way. And I met some really amazing people and did some cool stuff. So all worthwhile. We can see through out into the Great Salt Lake. That's the Promontory Mountains out there. I don't believe that's Antelope Island from the angle we've got. And although it might be. And it's not an island anymore, by the way. It's now an isthmus. But we're on our way here. Let's take a look. Yep. So we have actually passed. We've actually passed this. Our next GPS, our next waypoint is actually Quebec. We'll intercept that, and then I'll take us back over to nav. Maybe I'll just go nav now. There we go. So, yeah, look, it does look like Park City down there. It's pretty amazing the way that SimHaven traces the footprints of the buildings. Like, I can recognize certain buildings down there in Park City. Looking back up the top to Guardsman's Pass, over to Salt Lake Valley. This is I-80 here. It comes over the top and then down through Parley's Canyon. We're going to be going sort of this way, staying on this side of these mountains. View on the side here. That over there is Rockport Lake. I used to go windsurfing out on Rockport Lake. And these people who live out here, like when I lived there, none of that was there. Like there was none of that there. Pioa is a little town out there in the distance. It's a real town. It's got some decent fishing. The Heber River runs through there, and or the Weber River runs through there. I sort of navigate Utah according to fishing spots, if I'm being completely honest. Fishing spots and backpacking spots. But hey, you gotta have a hobby. Okay. Let's check the chat. It is late there. Let's see, Rico Schwartz, it's 7:12, probably 12:20 in the morning, something like that. That is early, or late, depending on your perspective. Anyway, I don't have any goal for this channel to be anything other than fun. I'm not trying to promote my clicks or increase my audience or make money or anything like that. I'm just going to do what feels good and what I enjoy doing, and we'll see how it goes. Let's see, we're 23 minutes from Logan. It's time for us to start thinking about, really, can that be? Yeah.
415 Juliet Golf, contact Salt Lake approach 135.5.
135.5, Salt Lake, 15 Juliet Golf. Easy for you to say. Salt Lake approach, Sirius 15 Juliet Golf is 10,500.
November 15 Juliet Golf, Salt Lake approach, altimeter 2987.
987. You're not required to read back the altimeter, but I like to in case I got it wrong. Especially over the mountains, like altitude matters. So, I got that going for me, which is nice. So, let's start planning a descent. One thing we can do is we can say, well, Logan is at 4,457 feet. So pattern altitude would be 5,457 feet. I don't think we have any unique procedures. We'll just read the airport diagram here for a minute. Birds in vicinity. ASOS is 135275. We might as well get that dialed up. 135275. Oops, I typed it wrong. 1, 3, 5, 2, 7, 5. Start to monitor that on COM2, which we are. So we'll get the weather. Logan Cache has a CTAF on 122.8. I won't dial that in quite yet because we don't know if we're going to get another handoff from Salt Lake here. But eventually that's what we'll call. And once we get the weather, we'll probably be coming on, well, probably on 17, I would imagine. Making left-hand traffic. You can see why we want to stay on this side of the Wasatch. Cool view of the Salt Lake Valley out there. The lighting, like the way this thing does lighting is so great. Just can't get over it. The haze, such an advance. Okay. That all looks nominal. So one thing we can do, I don't do this very often, but we can actually plan a vertical navigation path here. We can go down. I can say that at KLGU we want to be at 4457. And that is MSL. And then I can go down and say that I want to be a vertical navigation profile. But the question is we don't want to lose altitude too fast because we still have like 7,000 AGL above us. So if we get to Jaipause, we've got 8 minutes. If we are, right now, if we want to be at 5,500, or at 10.5, 5,000. We can do that in 5 minutes at 1,000 feet a minute. We can do that in 10 minutes at 500 feet a minute. Yeah, so about J pauses in our descent. So we can say, you know, what we want our, like we can say we want to descend at 500 feet a minute. To actually be, and I don't want to be at 4,500 feet at KGLU, I want to be at 5,500 feet. And then down here, I've got a VNAV profile. Basically, will then tell me what my top of descent is coming up in 7 minutes and 20 seconds. I'll put that here so you guys can see all of that. So I put in the altitude I want to be at Logan, which is 1,000 feet AGL, which is 5,500 feet. And then I told it that I wanted to do 500 nauticals, 500 feet per minute descent. It calculates what the descent angle is automatically, and then it gives you a top of descent, which is 655. So we should have a automatic descent starting here pretty soon, and we'll tell them that that's what we're doing. If I hit VNAV profile on this, but again, I don't think I will, because I want to keep some altitude through, let's see what's Morgan City, that's 5,000 feet. Where I come through, Eaton is about 5,500 feet, 6,000. So yeah, we should be okay. We've got some traffic coming up. That's exciting. You can see the traffic there. That's on PilotEdge. One above us, one below us. We'll keep an eye open for them. Okay, well, we'll stick with our descent profile right now. We should be plenty fine. If I look at the 41 nautical miles away, I've got 2,000 feet of clearance. Where is that? That's like just before you get to Logan. So, and that's on the side profile, so we should be all right. Okay. And again, I don't have to cue that VNAV profile. Fuel pump on. We need to change tanks here. Still have fuel flow. Pump off. And we got this cloud here, which just popped up out of nowhere. So when it gives me clouds that just appear out of nowhere, I disregard. If I'd seen that coming from a mile away, it'd be different, but it just popped that in front of us. So we could always drop down to 500 feet in altitude, 1,000 feet in altitude. Now let's go ahead and do it. Oh, we'll just stay here. I don't want to have to call center or anything. Besides, we can still see. We're not really in a cloud. Gives us a chance to see how this thing renders clouds anyway. So let's stay with that for the just for the experience. In the meantime, we're looking for this traffic. Let's see it. Oh, giving us more clouds. It's interesting how it kind of keeps updating them like that, rather than keeping them static. I haven't spent a lot of time flying around in the X-Plane 12 weather engine, so it's sort of interesting to see how this stuff is working. Hill Air Force Base in Ogden coming up off the left-hand side. You can see them there in the unit on the map system. And we're going right over the top of Morgan County Airport, which has glider activity. It's interesting that the ForeFlight has a cloud kind of back behind us. I'm sure that's what X-Plane is interpreting as this weather. And it's interesting to see how it renders it. It sort of takes it away in slices, as you can see. It's kind of weird. Now it looks like we're just underneath the deck, which is fine. Interesting. And then it sort of stopped doing it. So, in front of us now is Pine View Reservoir, which is right down here. And then once we get to Jaipaws, we're 8 minutes. I can lose 5,000 feet in 8 minutes. No problem. Then I'll look at the chat here. Uh, 625 feet a minute. So that's what I'll probably do. I'll ignore the VNAV profile because I don't want to drop altitude till we get through there. And then we'll do that. Let's see. Sanad retracted a message. Sorry, I didn't see it. Have you noticed the explosion of flights and build channels on YouTube since I've been away? I have. There's a bunch. There's really a bunch of commercial airline tube liner guys. Like there's a lot of guys who have built really pretty incredible 737 simulators and that kind of stuff, and I feel just sort of like a pokey general aviation guy. Okay, up here on the other side of the mountains, Brigham City, you can see the edge of the Great Salt Lake up here. Out there in Promontory, there's some really remote airstrips that we're actually going to fly into in the sim as part of the effort here. There's a Fremont North on Fremont Island and the Great Salt Lake. There's Fremont Island lower and upper. Those are dirt strips. We're going to fly into some of that stuff. Oh, there's Logan. Gusting 23. I didn't hear the direction. Automatic weather observation, Logan Cache. 180. Okay, so we'll come in on runway 17. We're coming right down the pipe. Okay. Make a note of that. Switch back over to guard. Oops. Didn't want to do that. Automatic weather observation with Logan Cache. 1803 knots. Visibility more than 10 miles. Sky clear. Temperature 32.3. Okay, so we're going to come in on runway 17. So let's visualize that. We're going to make left one downwind traffic. Easy peasy. And go ahead and bug the heading. It's like, I always sort of like to brief an approach, even if I'm not really briefing an approach. VFR, you still want to make sure you know what you're doing. You've thought through what you're going to do. We're going to come over the hills here in just a second. We're going to then come down, make a right on the side of that mountain, and then start setting up for Logan. And now we can go ahead and put in Logan's CTAF, which is 122.8. we can switch over to that in a minute once we have the airstrip. We don't have the airstrip yet, so we'll keep talking to tower. And this is Logan Valley up in here. So we'll turn now. That little river there at Lake is Manaway. And I had an ancestor who lived there and had, being an early Mormon ancestor, had more than one wife. So there you go. This canyon goes down to Brigham City, Utah, comes up over, goes past Manaway, comes down in here, and then this is Cache Valley. Logan's up in there. Pretty soon here I'll be able to see the field. In fact, I think I can see the field. A little tough to tell. We'll see here in a second. It'll be right off the nose after we make this turn. Okay, so we're 7 minutes out. So let's call center and tell them we're going to descend. In fact, we'll just tell them that we've got the field. Salt Lake Center, Cirrus 15 Juliet Golf has Logan.
15 Juliet Golf, I was just about to ask, radar services terminated, squawk VFR, frequency change approved.
Okay, go to VFR, thanks for your help. Okay, and then we'll start a nice little descent down to 5,500 feet. Vertical speed of, let's call it 800. Let's call it 1,000 just so that we, oops. Let's call it 1,000 just so that we don't make it 900. We don't need to. Let's get our descent checklist running. Ooh, let's go full rich. There we go. She didn't like that. Okay, we've got the weather. We're going to start slowing ourselves down. So we're doing 140 knots. Descent altimeter is set. Let's see, what do they have? 29902. Got that set. Cabin heat defrost as required. Landing light on. Fuel system, everything looks good. Make sure we're full rich. Oops. Brake pressure. Oxygen. Got it. Be ready for our before landing checklist. And when we're up here, we're 17 miles out still, so we'll just keep coming down. And there's Cache Valley. I gotta say, this has gone by quickly for me. I thought this would feel like it was taking forever. It might have felt like it takes forever for you. You can see our checklist as we're going through it. Knots is fine for now, but pretty soon here we'll try to cut it down. Only about 2 minutes out, so we'll back off the power even more. It'll be about 90 knots when you get into the pattern in the Cirrus. We'll make a call when we're about 10 miles out. Fuel pump on. Boost. Make sure there's required flaps. We'll get flaps here in just a second. We're not selecting an approach. Logan traffic, Sirius 15 Juliet Golf, 7,710 miles south of the field. We'll be entering a left downwind into 17 Logan. We've got a 20 knot tailwind. We are moving, doing 127 knots over the ground. There's our field. No, I don't like looking down the throat of departures, so we're gonna take over here. Fly down Main Street. I've played that golf course for what that's worth. Ourselves trimmed at about 6,000. That's good. She's really moving with this tailwind. There's our top of descent. You can see coming up on the GPS. Logan traffic, Sirius 15 Juliet Golf, 6,000, 5 miles south of the field, entering a left downwind for 17 Logan. All right, we'll get ourselves to about 90 knots. And come down to about 5,500 feet. We're on the fullest tank. Logan out the window. Logan Canyon right there. Canyon Road, where my family ancestors grew up. I used to know the exact power settings for the pattern. I think it was like 20%, 13% for descent, the 22, I don't remember. We got a dead tailwind, 27 knots. Okay, there's our field. Go down to 5,700 feet. 95 knots, just about where we want to be. And here comes our 5,500. Trimmed. Got distracted. Logan traffic, Sirius 15 Juliet Golf is in left downwind for 17 Logan. Alright. We're in good shape. We're a little low for the pattern because I was messing around with the nav system. There's a lesson in that. There we go. Hold and steady. Get us trimmed here. Okay, coming up to the numbers. Okay, going for slaps. And if I remember correctly, it's about 13%. can't be right given the speeds I'm getting. That's okay. We'll just fly the numbers. Logan, traffic Cirrus 15 Julie Golf is turning left base for 17 Logan. 85 is good with one set of flaps. Making our base turn. Another notch of flaps. Logan traffic, Cirrus 15 Julie Golf, turning left, final 17 Logan. This big headwind, our ground speed's gonna be like 60 knots. A little high. Drop a little power. Ground speed is crawling. Oh, there's a train going by. That's cool. There we go. Flaps, 80 knots, a little low. There we go. Stall horn there right on the second. Not quite on the center line, but good enough for our work. Good amount of practice. Now we're back to driving with the casters. Boy, did I miss dinner. Boy. Good thing is I've got a loving and forgiving wife. Solid traffic, Cirrus 15 Julie Golf, clear of 17 of Bravo, 3 taxiing to the general aviation ramp. It's Logan. I think I said Solid. Flaps up. Let's run a quick checklist here. Paralaver 1000, fuel pump off, flaps up, transponder, I like to leave it on, lights, I'll just turn off the nav and the landing light, leave the strobe on, pitot heat is off, next, go to shut down traffic, shut down checklist. One thing about these TorqueSims is you got to give her a lot of goose to get her going. Like 1900 in the real airplane is a lot of power. And we've got, I should have landed long. Oh well, that's what you get. There's nobody else here, we could have landed as long as we want. Where are we going? Leading edge aviation? Okay, sounds good to me. I love the sounds in the TorqueSim. And I've got a butt kicker on this plane so I can feel it like really rumbling around on all these seams and stuff. Great textures, like this taxiway looks great. Go to B and then we're going to make a left on Delta. That's right. Looks like I designed an original version of this airport in X-Plane, but somebody went through and really made a lot of improvements to it. I was looking at it the other day. Logan traffic, Sierra 15 Juliet Golf is crossing 28. Logan, at Delta. Nobody coming? Nobody coming? Although those hangars are awfully large, maybe I will take a crack at it. Designing runways gets sort of addicting. Is there a spot for me? Is there a spot? Marshall? Is there a spot? How about right over here? That looks like a good spot. Oops. Oh, there's an airplane there. Take this one. Come on, baby. Fuel pump off. Throttle idle. Conditioning switch, cycle, grounding check, mine, mixture cut off, all switches off, magnetos, ELT. There we go. So there we go, leg B of the Alphabet Challenge. Bullfrog to Logan, flew the whole state. So we got that going for us, which is nice. And hope you liked it. It was fun to do. And next is Logan to someplace else. I'll have to look. Next is Logan to Dutch John, which is over on that side, is over on the northeast corner of the state by Flaming Gorge Reservoir on the other side of the Una Mountains. That'll be a pretty flight. I'll hope to do that maybe this weekend. Other than that, I hope everyone else is doing great, and we'll see you on the next